Thank you for putting up with technical difficulties. Let's hope that now we are officially starting part 2 of the Darren's Guitar Chronicles Kickstarter countdown chat. Hopefully you can all hear me now. I can at least see the, I can now see audio levels. So hopefully that means you can hear audio levels. So let me know in social stream. Of course, what I'm seeing now is that it's telling me my channel's off the air, which is odd, because I'm pretty sure that I'm not off the air. Oh, wait a second. There, I just restarted the broadcast. Okay. Let's check one last time. Okay, now are we live? All right, I'm now getting the thing that says live. I'm seeing audio levels going up and down. So hopefully that means that everything's working. It's telling me that 6 of you at least are following. So there we go. And now it ran through the ad for me. So good. All right. That only took 5.5 minutes. I tell you. Good. Anyway. And now some other little number just came up. What is that? Oh, total views. All right. Fine. I think we're fine. I will wait till one of you in the social stream, though, says that you can both see and hear what's going on. So until then, I'll vamp. Ah, I see someone says, yay, sound. All right, to recap. Yes, everyone's got sound now. And hopefully you've got video now, too, because for a while my video wasn't working. Like, it was recording but not broadcasting or something. So, okay. Take 2. Hi, welcome to part 2 of the Darren's Guitar Chronicles Kickstarter Countdown chat. To bring you up to date, in the first half, we talked about fan fiction, introversion, bisexuality, let's see, what else? And we said that the Kickstarter is now $30 from funded, which is very, very cool. My stress level is nice and low as a result. And also my other announcement was that we did enough donations came in today that alone that we've triggered a bonus post on Saturday. So there will be a post on Saturday. Let's see. Please ask me questions in the social stream or text me. This is my actual phone number. I'm going to try to put it up where you can actually read it. Sorry, there you go. 617-290-9043, my actual phone number. Text me questions and I will answer them. Oh, in fact, I haven't checked texts in a while. Here's a text from my mother that I owe an answer to. And I will answer questions after I read the much promised, not safe for work, Darren's Night Out. All right, so this story was given to Kickstarter backers of the previous Kickstarter. So as a bonus, the only way you could get it was by backing the Kickstarter. And this is what happened the night when the band was in Los Angeles for 2 shows, right? They did, and then they were on their way to San Diego. He sent the band ahead in the bus and rented a car and spent a night on his own. Remember what I was saying before about introversion and people needing to be alone? You know, we're going to talk about that a little bit too. So this is Darren's Night Out. I'm not going to read the whole story. This is one of the things that I'm giving as a gift on this Kickstarter also. So everyone who backs will get it. All right, now I got to remember how does Darren's accent go? I cannot really do the New Jersey accent anymore. I can do a little bit. But I've lived in Boston too long, and at this point he hasn't lived in Boston that long yet, so his hasn't changed. Anyway, Darren's Night Out. So there I was in Los Angeles with a candy red convertible rental car, several days worth of per diem cash in my pocket, and only one thing on my mind: sex. I know, I know. I was on tour with the band that I'd worked so hard to build, but they were on their way to San Diego and I was here. I'd told our road manager that I needed some time alone. But what I needed, actually, was time not alone. I needed some time with someone's hand other than my own down my pants. And that someone needed to be someone I wasn't going to fuck up my relationship with. No roadies, no groupies, no band members. Sex and drugs and rock and roll, right? Numbers 2 and 3 we had plenty. Number 1 on the list wasn't as easy to get if you were gay and trying to stay discreet about it while on the road. After driving around for a while to actually clear my head and have some time alone, I ended up pulling over at a convenience store to use the payphone on the wall outside. I called the hotel I had just left an hour or two before and asked to speak to the concierge. This was a great trick I had learned from Jonathan. Concierges at fancy hotels know everything. Of course, I didn't ask her where a guy could get laid in this town. I asked if there was a gay bookstore. A young woman with a very professional finishing school type voice pointed me to exactly the right place. She sent me to a neighborhood that had not one but two gay bookstores, as well as a number of bars and cafes flying the rainbow flag. I knew a bookstore was a good starting place. I didn't know she was going to send me right to the gay cruising mecca of LA. I parked the car, made sure everything was locked in the trunk, and went for a walk. It was a pleasant enough walk in that crisp LA air that comes in the afternoons even when it's hot. A lot of men wearing sandals here. I was only used to seeing that at the actual beach. I was in combat boots myself, jeans, and a denim jacket. The one that was getting faded and frayed because I'd been wearing it so long, which just made me wear it even more. Ziggy had drawn a rocket ship on the edge of one shoulder one night when we'd been drinking, and there were a couple of random pins and buttons on the pocket. My hair was too long and my shoes all wrong for this neighborhood, but I had to try. I actually got drawn into looking at books in one of the bookstores, then had a moment where I wasn't sure I wanted to be carrying a book around. I wandered out and then into a sex toy store which, shall we say, aroused my interest in why I'd gone there in the first place. But I didn't want to cruise in a sex store. Just no. I went into the second bookstore and browsed a bit, but my eyes were more on the men around me than on the shelves. It's not that hard to see who else is looking too. I see why it's called cruising. You sort of sail past one another, testing if there's a connection or not. I got cruised hard by a man in a tank top with arm muscles the size of cantaloupes. He had that same crew cut so many of the guys did, like they'd got them all on bulk discount. I really wasn't sure about Mr. Melon Muscles, though, so I passed him by. I ended up chatting with a guy in the mystery section then. Maybe chatting up is a better term. Short black hair, V-neck sweater, a couple inches taller than me. Both of us were looking at the shelf instead of at each other as we stood side by side. I wondered how cagey I should be. The conversation went something like this. "Do you know what you're looking for?" I asked. "In books or in men?" he said with a laugh. I was so startled I laughed too. "Men," I said. "I usually know it when I see it," he answered, turning to look at me. Oh, there was that moment of connection, like a circuit suddenly being closed and the electricity flowing. It made my heart pound, my hair stand up, and my palms damp. "Do you?" I asked. He nodded, which seemed to put the ball back in my court. Well, what was I supposed to say next? Do you live around here?" "I do," he said calmly. "I take it you don't." "No, just passing through." "My place is close," he said. "Come on." As we exited the store, I asked if he thought my car would be all right on the side street where I'd put it. "It's probably fine, but if you have anything valuable, I'd bring it in the house," he said. "Yeah, I probably should. Let's go get it." So we walked over to the convertible. "It's a rental," I explained, as if why I had a ridiculously souped-up car like that needed to be explained. Up until then, I was pretty sure he had no idea I was anyone other than just some guy. Or if he did, he played it so cool there was no way to know. In fact, overall, the way he played it so straightforward and cool had just made me all the more horny. I could not wait to get in bed with him. If there was going to be a moment of truth or recognition, this was probably it. I pulled the guitar case out of the trunk. It had one of the tour logos on the case, and it said Darren in Colin's angular handwriting. "I thought you looked kind of familiar," he said. Yeah, hi, Darren," I felt the need to say, and we shook hands. "David." His hand was firm. "It's not far." "Great." I carried the guitar and left the suitcase. Everything in it was replaceable, after all. We walked to a small house nearby, and he led me through a high cinder block wall, partly hidden by bushes, into a small cement courtyard, and then into the actual house. A TV was on. As we went through the living room, he shut it off, and he told me if I wanted to, I could leave my stuff there. I left the guitar case and shucked my jacket off, and then followed him into what turned out to be a bedroom. He had eclectic taste in art and small piles of books and magazine against one wall where the bookshelf had overflowed. There was a teddy bear on the messily made bed. He moved the bear to the side table and turned to me. I get the feeling you want a quick one, at least at first, he said. I couldn't help it. I laughed. Sorry, I said, stifling it. I'm not used to being people being so direct. That made him smile. No reason to be. You want top or bottom? Which made me laugh again, my cheeks as hot as spotlights. No idea. I usually don't figure that out until we're in the middle of it. He cocked his head to one side. Seriously? Well, I figure the other guy usually has a preference and he'll make it obvious as we go along, and since I'm good with either, why screw it up by saying the wrong thing? Okay. He pulled the sweater off over his head, and I was surprised to find his chest much more developed than I'd expected. I put my hands up to touch the firm muscle. Not bulky, but very firm. The gym is one of the best places to cruise, you know, he said, pulling my shirt over my head. I wouldn't know. Are you sure? He ran his hands up and down my arms. These are some guns, man. It's the guitar, I said simply. Delicious. He bent and ran his lips along the top of my shoulder, then nibbled down one of my arms. My other thumb found one of his nipples much harder than the rest of his chest. When, I tried to say, I really tried. When... He sucked one of my nipples on his way back up, and I lost all my words. Then he pulled me by my belt loops until our groins touched, and I humped against him. Are you straight most of the time? He asked then. What? He licked his lips. I had you pegged for trade. What? I said again. Maybe we better fuck first and then talk. He started to undo his belt buckle. Wait, 1 sec. Every syllable was a struggle. He paused. He put a hand on my shoulder. What is it? Spit it out. I tried to go back to my original question. When should we have the talk? God, I sound like an idiot. You mean the safe sex talk? Relief flooded me. Yes. I've got plenty of condoms and we should use them, he said. I'm clean. I didn't know whether to believe him, but statement 1 made statement 2 moot anyway. Me too, I said. He took that as a cue to kiss me. He bent me back a little as he did. I wondered if I'd ever find out what it was like to fuck someone shorter than me. He got my jeans down and stroked me. I may have made a very undignified sound. If you shoot off, you'll be the one who gets fucked, he said matter-of-factly. Not about to. I leaned my head against his collarbone. Just horny as fuck. Good, you fuck me then. Gladly. We moved to the bed, shedding the rest of our clothes along the way. Once we lay down side by side, we indulged in a bit more kissing and stroking. You know, just to torture ourselves with a bit more delay. I like it from behind, he said into my ear. Lube's in the drawer with the rubbers. Okay, enough. He lay down face first, and I dug in the drawer without getting out of the bed. A finger went into him really easily. 2 wasn't difficult either, and he pushed back against it with a moan. I wondered if he was picking up guys every day if he'd even feel my cock. Go for it, he said, after I lubed him up some. I know there are people who say everything is sex. Blowjobs, hand jobs, as long as somebody comes or tries to, it's sex. But there's a part of me that thinks it doesn't count unless there's this. Unless there's fucking. I kept his cheeks spread and rubbed the head of my cock up and down his hole. Yeah, nice and dirty, he said. I suppose it was. I just like to see it go in. To see the tip push through and disappear, even stretched out by the rubber like it was, and then being swallowed by his body. I pushed and in it went. This is sex. This is what I felt the need to abandon my caravan for, to get this itch scratched. A very obliging caterer had sucked me off the other night, but it wasn't the same. I licked the sweat off the back of his neck where his hair was shorn short. He let loose a string of dirty talk then, which made up for the fact that I couldn't really say anything. I believe the technical term for what I did is fucked his brains out. Once I was in him, I wasn't in any hurry. All the urgency had been to get to that point. From then on, I took my time. I managed to form enough words to ask him if he wanted to come first. How about this, he answered. Fuck me till you're done. I'll jerk off. If I haven't come by the time you do, I'll fuck you back. Sure. From there, I just let instinct take over and rutted until I let loose. No words, no thinking, no worrying. Just fucking. Until I was done. My cheek was plastered to his back with sweat for long moments after that. I was completely limp. Fuck, that was good, I said, parroting something he'd said earlier. Good, let me return the favor. Or me return the favor, I said, as that made more sense to me. You know, he'd given me his ass, now I'd give him mine. Made sense. I was high from sex, so maybe everything made sense. It made sense to me just then that I'd gone out looking for sex the way an addict would sneak off to score. Come to think of it, it was called scoring, wasn't it? Fuck! I had really needed it too. Sometimes you don't even realize how much until you have it. He got out from under me. I heard him tear the condom wrapper and slick himself up. Then his hands were kneading my butt. Just relax, he said. If I get any more relaxed, I'll pass out, I said, my hair hiding my face completely, where I was lying face down. I tensed a little, though, as the first cold, lubed finger slid into me. You're tight, he said. It's been a while, I answered. Months. When was the last time I got fucked? San Francisco on the previous tour? What was that guy's name anyway? The one whose roommate thought I had recognized me? The feeling of a second finger stretching me brought me back to the present. He whistled appreciatively. I waggled my behind at him. That didn't make him hurry. He took his time, stretching and lubing me, playing with my ass, working his way up to 3 fingers until I was groaning and pushing back against him. I was also hard again and leaving quite a wet spot under me between the condom that had slipped off and now the new pre-cum I was leaking out. Each time I pushed back against his fingers, I fucked the slippery spot on the sheets under me on the next half beat. You ready? He finally asked. Yes. You sure? Are you saying that to tease me or because you really want to know? I want to know. Yes. I'm really ready for you to fuck me, I said, hoping that was clear. Okay. Cock always feels different than fingers. It's not just the whole thing I have about the cock being sex. It feels like it belongs there, especially once it gets all the way in. I started to shake and he put an arm around my chest. You okay? Yes. I was going to smack him if he stopped. You're trembling, he pointed out. Because it's intense, I said, not because it's bad. I felt my inside squeezing him like that would reassure him or spur him on to fuck me more. The shaking only increased when he decided what to do was fuck me really slowly. And it only increased even more when I thought about that one time I'd fucked Ziggy that way. No roadies, no groupies, no bandmates, not for me. I'd already forgotten this guy's name. Scott? No, David, because I had thought of David and Goliath in the back of my mind when he'd introduced himself. I decided to say it out loud since who knew if I was ever going to remember someone's name again? Might be a rare occurrence. David, I whispered. Fuck me, David. Oh, that did it. Something broke loose in him then, and he really gave it to me hard and fast. He didn't last long at that pace, and he came with a grunt. Then he pulled out quickly, his hand holding the base of the condom. I pulled myself off a second time while he spooned me on our sides, adding to the wet spot. And then neither of us said anything for quite a while, drifting in and out of some truly wonderful post-sex napping and dreams. A better nod couldn't be had from heroin, I'm sure. When we did rouse ourselves, he murmured in my ear, Thanks. I said, back at you. We got in the shower together then. We were too spent for that to turn into another session, so it was just nice to get clean and touch each other with soapy hands, sexy without necessarily leading anywhere. Both our throats were kind of dry and raw, so we sat in the kitchen after that, each with a towel around our waists and a cold bottle of beer. So what did you mean before when you said you had me pegged for trade? I asked. I was sitting at the table. He was leaning against the counter. Trade is trade. He looked at the light fixture overhead while he tried to think of how to explain it. Trade is straight guys who come looking for gay sex, sometimes cheating on their wives. Do I look like the marrying type? He laughed. No, that's what was so interesting to me about you. I couldn't figure it out. First I thought, bad boy. Then I got closer and I thought you were just a twink. And then He must have seen the quizzical look on my face. You don't know what a twink is either? Unless it's short for the snack cake, I don't. He shook his head. Twinks are young bottoms. Okay, they're not always bottoms, but they're skinny young guys who haven't yet turned into gym bunnies and bulked up. How do you not know this? Seriously. Seriously. I've been living in the closet a long time, I said, turning the beer bottle in my hand so that my fingers kept finding cold spots. How old are you? He asked, blunt as he'd been since the beginning, but looking for a second, like maybe he was afraid to hear the answer. 22, I said, and I saw him relax. Shit, I'm not that young. And you've been out how long? Who says I'm out? His eyes darkened, and then he seemed to suddenly remember. I don't mean out to the public. Not like that. I mean, out to yourself, at least. I shrugged. Less than a year, depending on how you count it. Shit, he said, like he was impressed. No wonder you don't know anything. And I don't read the gay magazines or watch porn. I shrugged again. I'm about to spend the next several weeks living in a tour bus with a bunch of guys. I decided to get away for a night. I pulled on the beer. After I swallowed, I said, "Okay, what else can you tell me? What else should I know?" "Well, you went to the right place anyway," he said. "So if I'm not trade and I'm not a twink, what am I?" He chuckled. "You might be a bad boy if you had any clue," he joked. "Some guys might still count you as a twink because you're young and skinny. Except you're so straight acting." "What gave me away then?" He chuckled. "I don't know, you just had a giant sex sign hanging over your head. Twinks tend to be flirty, like I said, usually bottoms, but with you it was more like you just looked hungry. And that kind of desperate edge is sexy. You get a lot of that with trade, but trade doesn't bottom." "Oh, those guys who say they're not gay because they don't take it up the ass, but they do everything else? You're catching on." "Yeah, definitely not one of those guys." I smirked. Anything that felt that good couldn't be bad. "Might just have to accept you're gay and don't have any other nifty labels to apply," he said, "unless you're bi." "I slept with a good friend once when we were drunk," I said. "I got it up for her and everything. Does that make me bi?" "Not unless you self-identify that way," he said. "Huh." I sat back in the chair, my beer forgotten for the moment. "Huh. What? What did I say?" "Well, I hadn't really thought about self-identification being a thing. I mean, I just always thought you are what you are. There's a definition of it, and you can't argue with it. But yeah, I guess some people would insist I was bi, but if I say I'm gay, right?" "Did you hear what I just said? I actually said the words 'I'm gay' aloud without flipping out. How's that for progress?" "Pretty much," he said. "I'm not big into identity politics, but it comes with the territory sometimes." He yawned. "So, do you have dinner plans?" "No, I don't have to be in San Diego until tomorrow morning. What about you?" "Well, if I can be blunt." "Have you been anything but?" He laughed. "If I can be extra blunt, I have a sex date set up for tonight at 8, but I'll happily cancel it if I can have dinner with you and we can fuck again." "Sex date? Wow, you really don't know anything. Look, yes or no, because if it's no, I should send you on your way. I can tell you some more places to cruise if you want to try somewhere else." My head spun a little from having the novelty of choice. "I'll totally fuck again after dinner," I said. "Why take my chances? I mean, I know I was desperate as fuck to fuck, and I'm not so desperate now, so if that was what really turned you on, I—" "Stop," he said, and put his hand on the phone in the kitchen wall. "We're having dinner and then fucking again, and that's final." I'm going to leave you there. There's another half of the story, but I'll be sending it to Kickstarter backers so that you can all see it. Later, haha. Um, hmm, just got a text. Okay, so what have you guys been saying in the social stream while I've been yes, everyone who backed the Kickstarter will be getting a PDF of that story, the full story, not where I cut it off just now. And then yes, if we reach in the stretch goals, everyone will get the PDF of, or Moby version of Darren's, not Darren's Night Out, but I Speak Guitar, which is the section of Darren's Guitar Chronicles that you all just read on the website where he's in Seville, but there's an unexpurgated version. I know it seemed like there was a lot of sex in that part anyway, but there's a more X-rated version. I try to keep what's on the website really PG-13 to maybe R. Not just for the sake of, I don't know, web hosts that might be funky or whatever, but yeah, this is one of the reasons why I do my own hosting, is so that, you know, some GoDaddy or somewhere with a name like GoDaddy, I don't think they would, but maybe they would, decide suddenly that they don't like the gays or they don't like sex or whatever. How many internet companies have we seen suddenly delete all the blogs that had the word breast in them? I mean, hello, LiveJournal. I mean, whatever. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Okay. Yes, I need my own Sherpa here to make sure I stay hydrated. I'm failing to do it, but I've only got another half hour left. Hi, Nobilis. Anyway, what was it? Where was I? See, what happens when I get into Darren's head and I read is that it takes me a little while to get back into my own head. Yes, this is how it works. Um, anyway, right. Oh, so I just got another question. So the question was, what do you miss most about the 1980s? I don't miss anything about the 1980s, honestly. Um, okay, maybe I don't know. I mean, I did like the music of that era. Obviously, you can tell that from reading it. Um, uh, and what I liked about the music of that era was that it was this time when things were changing, and when you know when something when there was the sort of I don't know when there were these interstices appearing where people were trying new things, and reggae was crossing over with punk, and sort of this different kinds of cross pollination and whatnot. But you know, um, but don't most people like the music of the era that they grew up in? So so I don't know if I had been born earlier or later, I probably would, I would like the music of that era because I like music and whatnot. Uh, but yeah, as far as most of what I remember of the 1980s was, Ronald Reagan and the Cold War and the AIDS scare, and I can't even call it a scare. I mean, the real, actual AIDS epidemic, and I remember coming out at a time when it was extremely scary, um, and yeah, I don't miss any of that. So, I also don't miss the neon clothing. I don't miss the leg warmers. I don't miss the, I don't know. There's a lot that I don't miss. I really enjoy that. I really enjoy that so many things have moved on. That sexual politics overall has, while there are still a lot of work to do, has generally moved forward. Tolerance of sexuality overall in this country has really moved forward and expanded in a lot of ways, despite the Bush years. I mean, despite the Meese Commission. I mean, just and if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google Meese Commission, Meese, and yeah, you'll find out. Um, yeah, let's see. Okay, what I wrote under my notes here: show and tell. I don't remember what I meant by that though. See, this is the problem when you're your own producer. I can't turn to somebody and be like, "What did you mean by this?" I don't remember. Maybe it meant I'm supposed to pick things up and show them, like the previous omnibus, the next one, at which we were only $30 from funded last I looked, will be even a little bit thicker than this because it's even bigger. I've got Gilly working on the cover and interior already because it seemed very likely that we were going to hit our goal, if not surpass it. So she's already kind of working on some stuff. She's got some ideas for, since this one was sort of the DIY poster, like, when you're a do-it-yourself band and you do shows and you go around tacking stuff to phone poles and whatnot. The next one we're thinking maybe we'll make it look like a professional concert poster, since in the next volume is when they're on tour for almost the entire book. So maybe that's what we'll do. We'll be playing with that. So I'll have hopefully samples to show of that sometime soon in the next week or two. I don't know. I'm gonna show you my ukulele. Oh, so that's one thing I did want to show you. So this is my my Ovation ukulele, that the guitar that Darren is in love with and has been in love with. This is essentially a ukulele replica of it that the Ovation Company makes. I am sad to say that I just got the news from a reader of the site who emailed me to say the Ovation factory in Connecticut is closing. It is the last of their US-based factories. Oh, the Ovation brand, Ovation got bought by Fender some years ago, I think about 2011, when the founder of Ovation died. And so they're part of Fender now, and they're all being made in South Korea and Indonesia and China. But one of the things I wanted to show you, so a couple of people were asking me, okay, I don't understand how Darren wanged Adon in the face with his guitar at the end of the I Speak Guitar segment. And I wanted to show you what the carbon fiber back of one of these things is like. Okay, it's the same stuff they make bike helmets from, okay? And some other things. And the great thing about carbon fiber is that it's a rounded back, so unlike your traditional guitar, it's not, you know, usually it's like the two layers, the top and the back are the same, and then there's a curved piece that is, you know, whatever. So one of the big innovations that Ovation invented essentially was not only did they put the sound holes on the side and a bunch of things and make this very, very resonant top so that it vibrates, you know, that's where all the good sound comes from. And then they made the back this material and so forth. So they were also thinner guitars, which made them easier to play in a lot of ways. Anyway, this is not a guitar, it's a ukulele. I don't know how to play the ukulele. I know how to play a little bit, but not very much. I'm gonna talk rather than play. But yes, so that's why. So imagine this, you know, 5 times bigger, the size of a guitar, and yes, very, very tough. And the company that became Ovation, what they were in the business of doing before they started making guitars was they made helicopter blades. And they were basically like, we've come up with this high tech material and, you know, so forth and so on. What else can we do now that helicopter blades um, now that helicopter blades are a thing, what can we make next? I know, guitars. So yeah, so it's a little sad. Apparently 50 or so people are going to be laid off. And I'm trying to figure out, it's just outside Hartford. I'm like, do they do tours? I want to know if I can go down there and do like make a pilgrimage to the original home of Ovation. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, so this is funny. You know, Billa says, I miss feeling like the world had a future. I'm assuming you're meaning in the 1980s. Whereas I felt like in the 1980s, the world had no future. Now I feel like we have a future. It's just, you know, obviously a much harder row to hoe. I don't know if you just read Annalee Newitz's post on IO9 and then her book about mass extinction and whatnot. But yeah, it doesn't, things look pretty good for the human race. They don't look good for society as we know it, but you know what? Society is always changing, so I don't know. I can't worry about that so much. Whereas, you know, in the 1980s, I think we were fairly convinced that all life was going to be wiped off the planet by a nuclear catastrophe, and I no longer feel like that is necessarily true. And although we could get into, you know, Fukushima and Godzilla, new Godzilla movie, and so forth later. Maybe in another chat. Maybe when we do a multi-fandom chat sometime down the road. Let's see. For those of you who missed the first half, let's just see where we are with Kickstarter. Okay, I think we're still at $30 to goal. Like I said, everybody who's in the chat are all people who have contributed already. But yes, we are nearly 100% of the way there, which is very cool. And so I am not worrying over that. We will get there. Let's see, other Q&As that I had to do. Okay. One person asked 2 separate questions, but they are sort of related. One is, how long is Darren's Guitar Chronicles going to go on? And the other one was, will there be more audiobooks? Two separate answers, obviously, also. So the audiobooks, at the time when I sold the rights to Audible, which they bought, 3 ebooks were out, and so they bought each of the 3 of them. Now there's 2 more ebooks, obviously, and number 6 will be coming in probably about 2 months. And I have not pitched them on doing the next 3. I don't know if they will go for it or not. If they don't, I have the option of doing them, say, through ACX as, you know, sort of self-published thing. But the problem with that is I don't know if I can get the same narrator. So I don't know. And I really love the narrator that they gave me. They had sent me a couple of samples and said, you know, like auditions, and said, you know, what do you think of this guy and whatever. And like the first guy was too serious, and you know, he was kind of, I don't know, he just wasn't right. You know, very good reader, but you know, not right for the character. And I said, gotta get me somebody really kind of laid back and deadpan. You know, and I said, what's hard to get across is that Darren thinks he's funny, you know, and he isn't funny until you get to know him, and then you start to realize where the sort of understated jokes and whatever are. And I said, I need somebody who can kind of be like that, you know. and realize that Darren is laughing at himself sometimes, even when he's being really just, even though it's sort of unrelentingly angstful, it doesn't feel unrelentingly angstful when I'm writing it, is the funny part. And yet, I know many people send me comments after having, stayed up all night, multiple nights in a row, to say they are, once they started reading the serial, they couldn't stop. And how much they love it and how fantastic it is, but oh my God, unrelenting angst. And I'm like, is it really unrelenting? I think it relents quite a lot, actually. But it's the angsty parts that everyone likes. Like that's what you're waiting for, right? So, as Lena put it, it's la 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 boom, right? So, and I'm like, I don't feel like it's like that. I feel like things are constantly building towards something, but I'm the only one who knows what each section is building towards. So, you never want to give it away too soon. Yeah, I don't know. But so will there be more audiobooks? Probably, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I need to pitch to Audible to say, do you want to acquire these like you did the previous ones and add them to the series? They haven't sold fantastically well. They've done okay. So I don't know if they will go for it. If not, then I can look at potentially doing them, through ACX, and whatever. But which I would, if they pass on it and say no, we're not going to do it, I would probably do. But like I said, I'm trying to get that same narrator. I don't know if I can afford that narrator, and if I can't, I need to find somebody else who can sound like they're a laid back, deadpan 19-year-old. Anyway, how long is Darren's Guitar Chronicles going to go on? On the other hand, I don't know. And every prediction I have made about how long a section is going to be or how much time it's going to take, either in story time or in posting time, has been completely wrong. So this is something I do not have any sense of. I do know there's at least one more major arc that needs wrapping up. And the thing is, then there's a couple of sub arcs that could become their own arcs. What I don't know is, are they all going to wrap up at the same time, or are they going to kind of leapfrog each other? I don't know. I literally don't know until I sit down to write often sort of what the next thing is going to be. It's completely the opposite from lots of my other writing projects where, I kind of plan out a lot of things and I do a lot of, preparation, and I think about it in the shower, and so forth and so on, and I literally think through the words I'm going to put on the page. With Darren, I'm just sort of talking to him all the time. He's always there. And then when I sit down to write, he takes over, so it's sort of, I don't know what he's going to say, and often he'll surprise me then, because I'll be like, I thought we were going to write this such and such day. He's like, oh, no, I forgot we need to do this other thing first. Or, I forgot to tell you about this, or I had a thought about beer bottle labels, or whatever, that kind of thing. And out it comes. And he tries to always make it worth everyone's while, basically. So, hopefully he succeeds. All right, so that answers that question, actually. So, anyone else, make sure, text me, put questions in the social stream. I will answer them. We've got about a little under 20 minutes left. Let me see. Did you guys have any questions about the stretch goals, which I want to put into? Hopefully, we will reach at least one or two of them. I really, really do want to do the individual paperbacks, and I will eventually scrape the money together to do them if we don't make it through the Kickstarter. But the reward that gets unlocked at 4,500 is a 2-hour chat with Darren for backers only, which we would do through through IM. I need to install a new chat room to the website or something, though, because the one we were using just was a little buggy and wasn't perfect, and it wasn't free. They were charging me a monthly fee to keep it up there, so I got rid of it. But yeah, Rumble chat was okay, but didn't work perfectly. And if I'm going to pay for something, it better work, So there's probably a free alternative out there that I could get. If only I could upgrade my WordPress, but that's another story. Actually, the short version of the story is, you remember when there was that malware going around through WordPress sites about 2 years ago? and we hardened the site, like, you know, hired a security company to harden it and whatever. They hardened it so much that I can't upgrade. And yeah, I don't know. So, and they keep claiming, no, no, that wasn't anything we did. That must be something your sysadmins on your end did. And my sysadmin on my side is Corwin, who was basically like, okay, well, we should just rebuild the whole server anyway on a better, newer machine, you know, this, that, the other, which of course he's been saying he's going to do for 2 years and hasn't done yet. So, it's about time for me to start nagging him to try doing it again, maybe. But when you're married to someone, you have to choose your battles. What you nag each other for and whatnot. So, um, so let's see. So among the stretch goals that we're going for, yes, at 4K, which is just $500 from where we are now, I'll add 2 scrapbook pages to the omnibus. For 4,500, I'll do paperback individual volumes, regular size, not massive size, of volumes 1 through 3, and Darren will do a chat for all backers. At 5,000, we'll add paperbacks of volumes 4 and 5. 2 more scrapbook pages get added to the omnibus, and I'll do a timeline, historical timeline of when all different events take place on actual dates. One of my early drafts of Darren's Guitar Chronicles, the early part, every chapter started not just with the song title, but with the date that it took place on, because I couldn't keep track of it if I were not actually writing it in every single step of the way. And at one point, my writers group told me to take those dates out because they were distracting. They kept thinking, am I supposed to remember that on August 7th, 1988, something significant happened or something? And I'd be like, no, but, I had to put dates in there so that I would not lose track. I mean, the thing starts in 1986. I need to make sure I've kept track of what year we're in now and so forth. In fact, at one point I thought I had lost track of it, and I thought I had either lost a year or one year happened twice. But then the copy editor who did the last omnibus was like, no, all the timing of the sections works out. And I'm like, okay, good, because I got really confused there. So at 5,000, that's what we would get. I'll do a timeline that would appear in the book and or be a PDF that you can look at separately. And if we made 5,500, I said I would make backstage passes for everyone and invest in a new website. If we get to 5,000, I think I'm going to do the backstage passes for everyone anyway. And we'll see. We'll see. That's, I'd have to do basically almost 50% again what this Kickstarter has done in the last 7 days. On the other hand, a lot of Kickstarters do that in their last 7 days because that's when everyone gets excited because there's a deadline, right? Everyone works well with deadlines somehow. It's not just writers. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, I've been meaning to do that. Quick, get it done. Once it's urgent, then people do it, so, okay, great. Okay, here's a question that came in email. If you could cross Darren and the guys over with any other universe, what would it be? Okay, that's I did not actually think about this one in advance. So because that question just came today. Good question. So like if I were going to do a Darren alternate universe crossover, like would I cross them over to Harry Potter? Not really, probably. I don't know. Although I mean that could be fun. It would be fun to cross them over with anything, right? I mean, just but yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Kind of thinking like, some of the anime might be more fun, because they're sort of real world. They can go to Japan, like of course the storyteller in me is like, okay, but how would you set it up? And it's like, okay, Harry Potter would just have to be random, like random magic exists and, whatever, as opposed to, I don't know, coming up with some kind of an excuse. But yeah, I don't know. That's good. That's a good question. What would I want to cross them over with? Then there's that whole question of would I cross them over with Magic University or something? Since there's so much happening in Boston, they could meet each other, and whatever. And it's like, okay, but since Magic U happens now and this is happening then, it would be later, So in fact, I'm trying to remember. Did I put? It's not impossible that I snuck in a cameo of 40 something Darren or Ziggy or whoever, when you're a writer, at least the way I write, you throw a lot of stuff in there that you don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but it's sort of like your subconscious comes up with a lot of things and you put them in as you're going along. When you're writing something as long as a novel, some of them you don't know which things are going to be important details later and which are things that are just there sort of for texture or for color or whatever. And then I can't resist putting in things like in jokes. I don't know, like some of the Magic U takes place in Cambridge mostly, and in and around the Harvard campus and the neighborhood where I live. So there's commentary on my neighbors' houses and things in there. So that kind of stuff. So you put these kinds of things into, I don't know, and it's easier when you use a place that actually exists, because then you can refer to it later. As opposed to being like, oh, I made that up and now I need to draw a map of it and whatever. It's like, okay, I just used my actual street. I used the house across the street. This, that, the other. That was easier than coming up with a completely brand new place that's totally invented. In Darren's Guitar Chronicles, I have to invent a lot of places, and I had to research a lot of places. I mean, when they went on tour, they toured the country, every venue, everywhere it was, what kind of place it was, how many it seated, what kind of chairs it had. I researched all of that, and because I wanted it to be as realistic as possible. And why should I have to invent all of that when those were real, actual venues that they went to? The everything works with Hikaru no Go. Yes, it does, doesn't it, though? Amy says, Moondog 3 reinvents themselves as Wizard Rock. Ziggy was secretly a wizard all along. Yes, that would explain so much. Yes, on the run from the, his mysterious past. There's this whole question of like, who is Ziggy's father really? Whatever. Yeah. I don't know that. See, now you have got me thinking about it. Okay, you guys write the fanfic though. Okay, I write the canon. You guys write the fic. That's the way this works, right? Oh gosh, but what was I saying? Sorry, you know how my brain is. If I'm not writing it down, I can forget whatever I am in the middle of a sentence. That's one of the beauties of writing things down. I shouldn't tap on the desk, right? You can all hear something going ding, ding, every time I do that, can't you? I'm just remembering. It's like radio. Don't touch things. Yes, I was in radio before I was in book publishing. I started in radio when I was a teenager in New York City. That's a story for another time. Yes, my sordid past in the music industry is very long and varied. As Lena did an interview with me recently at the Love Bites website that just got posted this week, where I talk somewhat about various stuff. And you should all go and find it. It's Love Bites, BYTES. It's what used to be the Sid Love blog and is now called Love Bites Reviews. Soup says, everything goes with Homestuck too. I have been resisting getting into Homestuck because I know that if I fall headlong into it, it will eat my life. And I just have not had time to pick up a new fandom. So, it's like, I was under contract. Now I'm not under contract, but my agent is hopefully about to sell another 3-book series. Fingers crossed. We'll see. So I'm trying not to get too into anything. I was sick last week. That's when I finally caught up on 5 years worth of Marvel movies that I've been meaning to see. I had seen the Avengers and I had seen Iron Man, but I had not seen any of the others. And then I saw Thor 1 when I was home visiting my parents. And I was like, okay, so I need to see Thor 2. I need to finally see The Hobbit 1. I saw Hobbit 2 on a plane, but I was like, all right, I'll go back and watch Hobbit 1. I'll watch this, I'll watch that. So yeah, it's like, sick on allergy medicine and unable to function. So I was like, I'll finally watch all those movies. And now there's movies on demand on my computer. I don't have to leave the bed. It's great. So I finally caught up on like 5 years worth of movies I've been meaning to see. The one I didn't see was Star Trek Into Darkness because it's not available for streaming yet. You can buy it for download, but you can't stream it, and I did not pirate it. So, it'll have to wait. I'm too busy creating my own stories to consume other people's a lot of the time, so when I take a break, that's when I consume others. But all right, we're actually starting to come up on time. I have one question left that I have not answered yet, which is what other countries will Darren and Ziggy visit? I'm not actually 100% sure what other countries exactly are going to turn up and where they visit, but you may have noticed that many of the places that they visited are places I've visited, because it is easier for me to have a sense of a place if I've been there, obviously. I mean, there's only so much that Wikipedia can tell you, and I freely admit it. Sorry, Los Angelinos, but Darren's dislike of Los Angeles is a grain of my dislike of Los Angeles. And he dislikes it much more than I do. I think it's a fine place to visit. Then again, I made him live there, so maybe I'd feel differently if I actually lived there. I don't know. I like California overall, but yeah, it's I think his real problem with it is just the associations he has with bad things that happened there. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Whereas New York, New York is home, so um, we've all gotten, I don't know. He and I both do get homesick for it sometimes, which is weird because we've all lived in Boston for so long. But on the other hand, wouldn't want to live there. It's like when I lived in New York, I did not understand what people would say about New York is great, but I wouldn't want to live there. Great place to visit, but wouldn't want to live there. And now I understand that. But partly because I live in a kind of utopian liberal, whatever. Yeah, I live in this sort of liberal utopia in Cambridge, Massachusetts, as it is. So, but yeah, where else will Darren and Ziggy likely go? There, there's probably a lot more South America that they're gonna probably do. They haven't been to Puerto Rico yet, which is, I know, kind of part of the United States and kind of not. There, yeah, more parts of Mexico. There's probably some other parts in Europe that they're gonna do. I imagine there'll be another trip to Japan, maybe. Hmm. Um, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where the story goes because, like I said, with this one. I plan big certain things, but some other things then are left to be discovered as I go along. So it's a very organically growing story, and I can't just say, oh yeah, and then Germany is definitely on the list. Although one of the things Darren does want to do is he wants to go see where the wall was demolished, given that it came down sort of while he was in Spain and missed paying attention to it. So he'd kind of like to go see where the Berlin Wall was demolished, which I have not personally seen. So I don't know if that ends up working its way into the story. I'll have to do it from reading newspaper accounts and looking at historical photos and whatnot. So yeah. Yeah, all right. We're coming up on time. I've got about 2 minutes. So if you had any last questions, now's your last chance to get them in until the next chat happens anyway. The Let me just take a last look at where we are with Kickstarter, etc. Nope, still at $30. Just $30 to go. That's all we need. Wow, my hair is frizzy now. I just looked at my... This is what happens, when I first started, it was all neat, right? But maybe that's a sign that spring is finally coming. Yeah, it's been ridiculously cold here. But okay, let me look at my notes. Okay, producer, which is my producer is my legal pad here. Show and tell questions, blah blah blah. Okay, so I managed to get to every single one of the questions I had done. I've read my thing. I think I've done it all. So I think I will say goodnight. Thank you all for joining me. Like I said, this should be archived onto YouTube sometime in the next couple of hours. I'm not sure exactly how long the transfer takes. It seems to take different amounts of time at different times. So, but thank you all for being here. Thank you for being supporters of Darren's Guitar Chronicles. Like I said, a new post will go up on Saturday. Thanks to today's donations that have come in. We needed to top 100 for the 24 hours from noon today to noon tomorrow, and blew right past that by 4 p.m. So, gee, when I put up incentives, people seem to like it. So I'll see if I can't come up with some more incentives for this coming week. Maybe I'll think of some things, but yeah, hopefully we'll get to a couple of those stretch goals. And if not, it'll just take me a little longer probably to accomplish some of those same things. But if you have friends, tell them about it. Please tell them to start reading. You can always read it free on the website. You know, it's just like crack, right? The first one's always free. Yeah. But I don't start charging you. It's totally up to you guys whether you contribute, and your contributions have meant so much to me. And I don't just mean your monetary contributions. I mean your comments on the site, your engagement with the text, with the art. That has what has meant so very much to me over the almost 5 years now that I've been doing it. So thank you all very much. I will now say goodnight, and I will see you around the internets.